In this video, we're going to talk about you contacting people and not getting responses. I got an email and it basically said, I tried sending emails to events, but very little to no responses. What do I do about it?
How'd you do that?
I see that success is not something you pursue. It is something you are.
So I got an email and it said this. It said, I would like to give presentations, but I'm not really sure where to begin or how to approach groups. I've tried sending emails to them, but with very little or no response. Is there any information you can give me to improve my chances of getting to a yes? And he talked a little bit more, but what's funny is as I read that email, I was on Quora the same day, and there was some person posted on Quora. He said this. He was like, cold emails are not working for my B2B SaaS startup. What am I doing wrong? He says, this is my first startup where I started a few months back. Currently, I'm experimenting with cold emailing to get clients, but it isn't working. I tried sending around 30 emails in the last few days, but nobody is responding. What am I doing wrong? Should I continue the cold email strategy? When I read that, I just shook my head. I was like, oh, my goodness. And so here's basically three things that people do wrong with cold emailing. This is why people don't get responses. It's why they don't get business. These are the main things that I see. First thing is you only send one email, one or two emails. You don't get a reply, and then all of a sudden you're just like, oh, they're not interested. Oh. And so it's like people send one email and they just give up. And that's it. They're just like, hey, I was wondering, would you hire me? Do you want to buy this product? And then one email, and then that's it. And they think like, oh, it's not working. You got to understand that people are busy, like extremely, extremely busy, especially the people that you want to talk to do business with. I guarantee if you send one email, you're probably not going to get a response. And so it's not because they're not interested, it's just because they're busy. They got stuff to do. So if you send an email, you got to follow it up with another email and then another one and another one and another one. It's why a lot of sales teams have cadences. It's why they say, look, over a 2-week process, here's your sales cadence. Day 1, you send an email and you follow that email up with an immediate call. Day 2, you send another email. Day 5, you make a call. And they have a cadence in terms of here's how many touch points you need to have, right? And so a lot of people, they just send one email and that's it. This guy actually created the second email sin. And the sin is he just didn't contact enough people, right? So he said it isn't working. I tried sending around 30 emails in the last few days. When I read that, I was like, are you freaking kidding me? 30 emails and you expect to get business? Try more like 3,000 emails and then let's talk, okay? And so a lot of people, they're just not contacting enough people. It flat out amazes me. It's like you trying to date someone. You go up to 2 people, they say no, they're like, no, I'm not interested. And you say, oh, nobody's interested in me. No, I'll never find a relation. I'll never have a relationship. And someone's like, well, how many people did you talk to? I talked to 2 people. No one in this world wants me. No one loves me. It doesn't make any sense. And the same goes with you doing a cold email campaign. This guy contacted 30 people in a few days. And if he would have said a couple days, I'd be like, man, that's dumb. He said a few days, which is even worse. I'm like, a few days means it's probably like 5 days that he contacted only 30 people. That's ridiculous. You have to contact in 1 week a minimum of 300 people, a minimum in 1 week. If you're not at that level, you will not get business. That's how cold emailing works. It's kind of like a numbers game, but it's also the quality as well. But still, if you're not at least at 300 people a week, contacting 300 people a week, you're not going to get business. And so that's the second thing. The third thing is that you talk too much about you in your emails. And I've seen a lot of people do this wrong, where so many people are like, hey, my company is this and we can do this and we've been around for 14 years and all of a sudden we do this. And I'm thinking like, he literally said nothing about me, like absolutely nothing. It was just a generic reply, like a generic copy and paste email. And it said nothing, like absolutely nothing about me. And so no one cares about you and your story. And like literally no one cares about you and your story. And so what you have to do is you have to relate that to why they should care. If you tell me about your story, why should I care? Like, what's the point? I'm bringing in speakers, or I'm doing this for an event. I'm bringing in a speaker. I don't care about your story. I care if this speaker is going to be engaging from the stage. Is this speaker going to make me look bad, or are they going to have people just die laughing? So that's what I care about. And you talking about your story to me in an email just bores the hell out of me. So a lot of people, they just talk way too much about themselves. So those are the three main things that I see wrong, where someone sends out one email and they send one pitch or whatever, and then they don't get a response, and you're like, oh shucks, no one's interested. Or number two is they just don't contact enough people. Like that guy, they contact 30 people in a few days, that's flat out ridiculous. You should be contacting a minimum of 300 people a week. And then the third one is that you just talk too much about you. Nobody cares about you except your mama, all right? So no one really cares. What you're doing when it comes to cold emailing is you're iterating your way to success. That's what you're doing. And so you're at first, you're not good at anything. All right? It doesn't matter what you do at first. If you're practicing basketball, if you're playing chess, if you're trying to do cold emails, whatever it is, you're just not good at it at first. So what you have to do is you keep doing it over and over and over, and then eventually you get really good at it. The same with cold emails. And so you iterate your way to success. You say, okay, I got really good at getting up to 300 people a week. Now I'm going to get really good at actually saying the right things in the emails. And so you're iterating your way to success the whole time. And so results, it essentially comes from correct application. It's one of the reasons why I say it's not good enough to just do the right things. You got to do those things right. This guy, he was doing the right things. He was cold emailing. That's the right thing to do. It's a right thing. He just wasn't doing it right. So he didn't get the responses. He didn't get business. He didn't get exactly what he wanted because he wasn't doing it right. He didn't contact enough people. He probably didn't say the right things. He probably talked about himself too much, and he just wasn't doing it right. And it's one of the reasons why I keep telling everyone to join the Speak Pro, because I see it happen a million times. People send out an email, and number one, they don't send out enough emails. Number two, they talk about themselves too much in the emails. It's just all sorts of problems. And this is why everyone talks about having a mentor, because it's hard to see what you don't know what to look for. So if you don't know what to look for, it's hard to see it. It's one of the reasons why an illusionist can do what they do. When I go to a show, I see an illusionist, I see damn near everything they're doing because it's what I do. When most people see it, they're like, how did he do that? And to me, it's obvious, but to them, because they don't know what to look for, they can't see it. It's impossible to see something when you don't know what to look for. The same comes with cold emails. When people send a cold email, they're saying these things, and in this cold email, it's completely wrong, 100% wrong, talks too much about themselves, but they can't see it. It's not in their brain yet to be able to see what they're doing wrong. And it's why people say you got to have a mentor, because the mentor, it basically tells you, here's what you're doing wrong, and here's how you need to change everything, right? So those are the main things in terms of why you're probably not getting a response with your email. So number one, you only send one email. Number two is you're just not contacting enough people. Number three is you're talking too much about you, and nobody cares about you except your mama.